No, so it's like when they do live streams and there's that like buffer stage.
I'll be like, oh yeah, want to start recording now.
You know, and like I don't know if you've ever watched YouTube live streams, but it's like when you click on it, and it's just like a blank screen, or like you know the Jingle Jam where it just has the Jingle Jam logo, and then after a while, whoever's streaming will fade in.
Oh yeah, and they'll be like, hi.
Yeah, or
It's
like
me.
with Hat Films where it's like they'll be playing the guitar.
Yeah.
Or they do like a musical.
Strumming into view. Yeah, I know what you
Yeah,
mean.
so you just sort
okay.
of, or like I was watching a comic book one. I was watching a comic book one yesterday. No, Wednesday before waiting for Isaac and you,
Yeah.
and it was like, it just had the logo of their podcast, which I'm not going to advertise because I'm not going to advertise someone else's work. It's good though.
You just did though.
It's good. No, but I didn't say what it's called.
Yeah, we just did the Yogscast.
No, but I'm not talking about Yogscast.
Okay.
This is a different podcast. This is a comic book podcast.
Okay, right. I see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it just had like the logo, and you could just hear them talking in the background, and then it was like, hey, welcome to blah 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 blah.
Yeah, well, I've been watching so many podcasts recently. I think I started
Like watching lots or listening?
Watching and
Because
listening.
there's two types.
Well, it's watching and listening. I don't really care. Like if I'm watching it, I'm not actually watching it. I have it like on the screen, and then I'm just like listening, and I'm just doing my thing.
Yeah.
And I think I started listening to podcasts like start of year 11, and I was kind of sick of YouTube, and I was kind of sick of just surfing through like TV shows and movies.
Did you find them through a YouTuber though?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. No, that's fine.
Yeah.
No judgment. That's how I found them.
Yeah, so I found podcasts, and then I was like, well, it's not bad. Actually, the first ever podcast.
And then found that they were like on iTunes and stuff.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, and they're all free on
Yeah.
iTunes. I was like, wow, that's really cool. And they're also on Spotify as well.
Yeah.
And I think one of the first podcasts I ever listened to was, I was home. Neil took me home, and I was drunk in town.
Oh wow. Okay. Fairly
Yeah.
recent.
Well, not fairly recent. This is year 11. Not town. It was like a party or something.
You know. Yeah.
And then I came home, and he wanted to put us all to bed, so he decided to put Joe Rogan on.
Oh wow. Is Neil political?
I don't know if he's
Joe
political or
Rogan's
not.
quite political. Yeah.
Oh, he's political, but he also is like into the whole like the spiritual fighting. He's
Yeah. I mean, the only reason I knew who he was before podcast, sorry to interrupt, was that he has a Netflix comedy special.
Oh yeah, he does have
It's
it.
two of them. Yeah, stand up.
Yeah, no, I really like. So I listened to it, like, and I was like, instead of like falling asleep, it was like he was talking to a quantum physicist.
Wow.
So I like
Deep.
trying to like get us to go to sleep. So I didn't really fall asleep, and I listened to it, and I ended up listening to like 3 of them in a row. So I listened to like quantum physics one, the guy who wrote Fight Club. That was the second,
Oh, cool.
The second one, he was on Joe Rogan, which was pretty cool. And then the last
And
one
Fight
was,
Club's like your favorite movie,
yeah,
or one of them,
one of them.
isn't it?
Yeah, well, I think it's one of my favorite.
I remember when you watched
pieces
it, you were
of
like,
cinema.
Zach.
This is the
Holy
shit.
shit.
Yeah, no, that was really good. And then the other one was like, I can't remember. It wasn't as good as the other ones. It was like some athlete, and the athlete was kind of boring to talk to.
Well, they can't all be good.
Yeah, so that was the, and then
So
I kind of moved on to other things as I stopped listening to Joe Rogan as much as I used to, but I still like it a lot. So there's that, and now I want to do my own podcast, and I want to do things about art
Mm-hmm.
and like shit like that, because I think I'm an artist, but I'm not. I don't really know if I am. or
But
not.
what is an artist?
That's a good question, Zach.
Let's
start off with that
artistry.
question. What is an artist?
Artistry. Wait, what about my history of podcasts?
Oh yeah, sorry. You,
Nah, it
you
doesn't
go.
I was just gonna say
Do you like doing podcasts?
Sorry,
Have you ever done a podcast before?
we've tried.
Have we? Shit. Did we fail?
Yeah, miserably.
Yeah, fuck. Alright, well, hopefully this one...
We tried 2 years ago, because I remember we were talking about Batman v Superman.
Was it on Skype?
We were doing it over Skype. Yeah.
Yeah. Fuck. Well, first of all, the microphone quality was nice. This is not much better, but it is better. And plus, it's really good in this car.
Yeah. It can't be worse than Skype.
It's not
When
worse.
it was like bad plus Skype is pretty shit. Like if you were gonna do one now, you'd do like Discord or something. Like
Well, I'm sure there's better than Discord. But
probably, but you wouldn't use
Discord's pretty free.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway,
free.
so I think... So yeah, podcast, and I want to do mine about like artistry, and I want you as a co-host. So I'm Lewis, and you're Zach.
I'm Zach.
And we're doing a podcast about like art, videos, songs, anything that we want to do, because it's a non-famous opinion. That's what this podcast is.
I do like that. Yeah, that's cool.
So it's what's called
Cool.
cool.
Famous opinion. Yeah. Jesus
Something
Christ.
else. Anyway, so what's the first question again? Because the first question was, kind of like about inspirations, and do you have any?
So, my sister's texting me. Just tell her to bugger off. Inspirations for
Just like have you? Well, first of all, you've gone through school. You finished school.
yeah,
Congratulations.
congratulations to you. We both finished college, year 12.
And we did a whole bunch of creative subjects.
We
both
did.
of us.
Yeah, especially this year for me.
Yeah, same. I did 3 portfolios this year.
Damn.
Yeah, that was pretty insane. But yeah, no, we've both done it over the course of our school. So throughout school, you must have done pieces of work for school or even your own. And do you have any like obviously the teachers force you to have inspirations?
Are we doing inspiration first, not ones we've done?
Well, it's a bit of both. Like
Okay.
what inspired you to do the work that you've done?
Okay, you go first because you're lead.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I've done a couple of things, and then the stuff that the quality where it's the highest is my art. I'd say. I think my graphic design is alright, but like I'd like to learn a lot more.
Mm.
I like to learn a lot more, so that's why I think my art's the best quality. My media production was alright, but it was mostly just me going off shit I've watched, not really about the process.
Mm-hmm.
So my art, I'd say Roger Ballin. Have you ever heard of him? South African American artist.
Oh yeah.
And I've also got David Viola
Okay.
and what's the other guy? David Lynch.
Ooh,
Yeah, he was one of my.
Lynch.
I love David Lynch. These are all art house films because I did art house films, so that's what.
Oh wait, are these not just artists? Wait, you mean?
They are artists technically. Well, most of them.
No,
are.
I know you mean artists, but with the other two, are we talking like?
Oh no, they're both photographers and video artists. They're
Right,
both-
yeah, video artists. That's right. That's good. Yeah, media artists
whatever.
maybe.
Whatever.
Is media count?
Directors,
Did you know?
filmmakers.
Yeah.
Filmmakers.
Yeah, sure.
What about you?
Oh, the art I produced this year was not my highest quality, but in terms of inspiration, it's always been pop culture. Hang on. Are you recording in the car? Yeah. Yeah, we are.
If you can't tell this is a car, this is a car.
I mean, cut that out.
I think for me in a car, it's been like a bit of an epiphany.
It's kind of relaxing. It's kind of like...
It's a bit hot sometimes, but like I'm sure we could like.
Not right now, it's not though, because the weather's pretty mild outside, you know?
Yeah,
It's
I could
like...
take a jumper off if I really wanted to.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway. back to
yeah.
Art. What have
So,
you done?
well, if we're going way back.
Let's just go back 3 years. You got 3 years.
3 years? Okay. Because I was going to say, if we're doing, like, inspiration-wise, I've always been drawing, like, superheroes in Star Wars and stuff. Fun fact, Lewis and I tried to create our own there for a while. We won't talk about that, though. We should reuse some of those designs, though.
It was not bad.
We were onto something.
We were onto something.
Actually, the most boring character was our protagonist.
Yeah.
He was actually the most uninteresting, boring character, whereas characters like whatever the green guy, the plant guy is... Fucking Virus. I loved... Can we swear in this?
Yeah.
Virus. I thought you were just telling you... Okay, nice. I didn't even realise you were... Okay. Virus, he was cool.
He was cool.
He was cool. I'm not trying to take credit for designs, but I was really proud of that one.
Yeah, you drew a lot of them. I didn't draw a lot. You drew most of the designs.
That doesn't mean they were good, though.
No, but...
Anyway, so yeah, Star Wars and comic books. And then for art this year, one of my whole art portfolio was actually based on a poet.
Ah.
I don't actually like poetry.
No, really?
I don't think it's like some kind of
What
low
kind of
form.
poetry? Was it like a book poetry, or was it just like a little bit of a
Well,
verse?
I don't just to what is it? Disclaimer. I don't think poetry is like some kind of low form of art. I just don't think I can appreciate it properly. You know?
All right.
Does that make sense? It's like if you showed like your quote unquote average moviegoer an art house film, and you're like, look at this piece of art, and they're just like, that was shit.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Does that make
No,
sense?
I feel you.
Yeah. I can like like when we had to do like Banjo Patterson and stuff in primary school, I'm just like,
Yeah, he was not great. Was
man, but he is.
he? Was he?
That's the idea. He's like Australia's.
Oh, well,
Australia's
yeah,
poet.
true. Yeah, fair
Anyway,
enough.
but like I like English, I like stories. Poetry is very limited, and that's probably the draw to it. Anyway, mine was a poet who then became a songwriter and a singer, but also wrote books, poetry books.
Yeah.
His name is Leonard Cohen. He wrote possibly one of the most famous songs, Hallelujah.
I can't sing, so I won't sing.
No,
But yeah.
everyone knows that song,
Yeah.
right? Of course, it was made famous more by Jeff Buckley, which was the version they used in like Shrek 2 and stuff,
Yeah, okay.
which is kind of frustrating. But anyway, he's amazing. Rest in peace. I did all my artwork on him this year. They weren't great, but every piece, 3 of the pieces were based on songs, and 3 of them were based on like general ideas, concepts from his songs.
Damn.
If that makes sense.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, I actually discovered him originally through a little movie called Watchmen.
It's
It's also based on a comic book.
I rewatched that film recently, actually.
It's actually very good.
It's a good film, and I thought
You should read the comic.
it's the best DC film. No, it's not the best.
No, it's not the best DC.
DC.
You should read the comic. But yeah, and then in terms of film, or like when we try to do film, I think I'd say David Lynch, but only in the terms of the way he edits. I don't think I've watched enough of his stuff. Definitely David Fincher, who did Fight Club,
Yeah.
and he did Gone Girl and Zodiac, and
The director of Fight Club.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I mean. Sorry, yeah, the movie Fight Club. Yeah, and I don't know. It's more films than the directors themselves that have
Yeah.
inspired me.
Yeah, the film, because like you feel like the director kind of does something good, and then like kind of do something different for the next one,
Yeah, which is fine.
which is good, obviously.
But sometimes not everything appeals to you.
yeah,
Like I watched a movie by a director called Nicholas Wendig Refn, who makes mostly what seem like art house kind of films. So he did one called The Neon Demon. Didn't really like it. Didn't do a lot for me.
Okay.
But then I watched his film Drive with Ryan Gosling, which you would love,
okay,
and it's just this neo-noir, violent, just powerhouse of a film with a mostly silent protagonist.
there you go.
And it's insanely good. I recommend it.
Okay, I will.
You should watch it. I think
I
it's
will
still
watch
on
it.
Netflix. I don't know.
I will. I'll try to give it a go.
Yeah.
That's not bad. I don't know. I feel like film by themselves are definitely more
Yeah.
of an
Like I'll say,
influence.
The Silence of the Lambs is a film that inspires me, but I have never watched anything else the director did.
Yeah. Okay. There you go. I
Makes
mean,
sense?
yeah. No,
I think we're both pretty inspired by things like Star Wars and Spielberg, though.
Yeah.
Is that cliche? That's probably very cliche, but
probably. And Christopher Nolan, I love his shit.
Christopher Nolan.
Yeah, he's good.
The Prestige, Inception.
Ah, yeah. Fuck.
Woo.
I was at the op shop the other day, and I walked in, and the Prestige was there for like $1. I was like, oh, fuck yeah.
Did you watch it?
Yeah, I watched it.
What'd you think?
Picked it up. I was like, dude. Well, I first figured out the Prestige was done by Christopher Nolan.
Yeah.
Because I was watching the Nerd Writer on YouTube.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I've ended up watching his videos. And I thought this guy's god. And then as you sit back and you rewatch them, a couple of his opinions, I feel.
Like The Prestige.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, not the Prestige video, but like a couple of his other videos, he was like said some opinions that I don't particularly agree with.
Yeah, same.
But like for the most part, I like what he says. So that's the kind of shit that we're both inspired by.
So you enjoyed The Prestige, though?
I did. It was
Rest in peace, Bowie. But yeah, what a great film.
What a great film.
No one ever talks about it. It's always Batman and Inception, Interstellar, Dunkirk.
Yeah, was it an older one? The Prestige.
Yeah, but it came out like the year before Batman Begins, I think.
Yeah, I think was it? Yeah, probably.
Anyway, yeah, good film.
So, I think we'll talk about a recent piece of work that's come up in the media. Spider-Man, Into the Spider-Verse.
Okay.
What do you think? First impressions. When you
I think you should go first.
When you
You saw it first.
When you saw the trailer, well,
Okay. Oh, you want to go? Okay. All I say is, we're actually filming this on the Sony thing, which is interesting. Apparently, and I totally agree with this, the directors thrived on people's low expectations, because everyone was like, "Wow, Sony finally shared the Spider-Man rights with Marvel Studios, and that's why he was able to be in Civil War and then make Homecoming."
yeah,
And it was like, cool. Like, you know, now the MCU has Spider-Man back, or
technically.
they kind of have Spider-Man back. But no, Sony still keeps half of it. So when Sony's like, yo, we're going to make a Venom movie and Spider-Man spin-offs without Spider-Man and an animated movie, people are like,
What?
from the same studio that brought us the Emoji movie?
Fair enough. Okay.
Yeah? Well, how can you want to be positive. Like, we haven't had really, if I could be mistaken here, if you don't count Lego Batman movie, we haven't had an animated superhero movie on the big screen.
True.
Like
Well,
like big budget.
big budget. No, I think Big Hero 6.
Well, see, that's technically Marvel, but it felt more like a Pixar ripoff or like a. Do you know what I mean? Like it didn't have, apart from a Stan Lee cameo, it didn't really have any direct connections to anything.
Yeah, true.
So I guess that's in like a blurred area, a grey area, if you will.
You could call that one. It's like when people say, "Oh, it's the first black superhero film for Black Panther," but there's Blade.
Oh dear, yeah.
Yeah, but
Blade,
again,
Spawn,
we'll move
yeah.
on. So
We're
like,
not talking about that.
I when I saw it, I didn't really think about those things.
Yeah, when I saw the first teaser, like I was
Yeah.
like, holy shit, this art style's amazing.
Yeah, I was like, dude.
And that was
there-
without seeing anything.
Yeah, there better be more like it in the future. I think
They spent an
they've
entire year just on the art style.
They better do more like it. I think. If
Right?
they don't do anything more.
That's
like
like the
it, I
new
was very,
standard.
Very sad. It's like when Toy Story came out. I was like, oh fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Like it doesn't just look. My boss at work was like, I don't want to see a 2D animated movie, and I'm like, it's not 2D animated. And that's not like, it doesn't look like that when you actually look at it. But some of those shots, like the one where he's fighting Green Goblin or Ultimate Green Goblin,
Yeah, yeah.
and he's just smashing things, and you're just like, holy crap! It looks kind of like stop motion and kind of like.
Yeah, well, I watched a video on how the animation was created, and like normally they do a thing called tweening, where you have like your arm here and then the arms here, and,
and then
they
they
confuse it a
make
bit.
scenes
But
in
like
between.
they drew like the arm, so it's almost like stop motion.
Yeah.
but it's like not quite.
Yeah, it's like they've purposely cut things out, and it doesn't look terrible or cheap. It looks better.
It's better, and the RPG like style. So I thought the art
Yeah.
style overall, and it really showed in the movie with the power and like how everything works.
Yeah, and the neon kind of look to it, especially when they did Spider-Gwen's little flashback,
yes.
and they showed her city where it's just like all pink and white, and it doesn't look terrible.
Yeah, it was great, and they had the dots on the lighting as
Yeah,
well. on
like
side of
the old
face.
printer dots on the comic.
It's great. Fucking loved it. And then I love the voices as well. They were
There was-
perfectly chosen.
Oh, yeah.
Still disappointed that Tobey Maguire didn't voice.
They should have done that.
But it was kind of funny. But like at the same time,
But at the same time, were you going to say he did a good job?
Yeah, he did a good job, yeah.
Great job. Did you know that Chris Pine versed the first Spider-Man, the one that dies? Spoiler. Wait, no, that's not spoiler. So you know the one in Miles Morales' universe, the blonde one who's like 26? Chris Pine voiced him.
oh shit.
Do you know who Chris Pine is?
No.
Oh, he was in the new Star Trek movies.
Oh
He's
right.
like the lead actor.
Okay, yeah.
He was in
no, I
Outlaw
know.
King
Yeah,
on
I do
Netflix.
know who it is.
Yeah,
Yeah, I do know.
yeah. When I watched it, I was just like, oh, they've got the same voice actor. That makes sense because like even between
That's what I
realities,
thought it. That's what I thought it was
Yeah.
personally. But it was different. I didn't realize that. But yeah.
there's a lot of big names in that movie.
Yeah. So that was cool, and the art style was great.
Oh, simply perfect.
What about you? What do you think of the story? Does it make sense?
I keep cutting you off, so you go first.
The story doesn't make sense though.
It doesn't.
I think it does. I think
Oh.
the story makes good sense.
Yeah.
I'm glad.
No, I think it does.
I feel like there's a couple more. I feel like they could have expanded on different points, but I'm really glad that they really went for this father-son kind of vibe between the old Spider-Man and Miles Morales. Peter B. Parker, what his name was.
Yeah.
I think that was really good. I'm glad they did that, and I'm really glad it's like popped off. And I'm really glad that what's his name, the voice of Miles Morales,
Oh, Shamik Moore.
Smeek Moore.
Is it Moore?
Yeah, Moore.
Yeah.
He's doing music now as well.
I think he did some of the soundtrack. I think he did the end credit song.
Yeah, or something like that. And they had a whole bunch of great names. Like, well, they had Will Smith's son do a song by Yarp or something.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, it was shit. But like, I really liked Sunflower.
I know you're a big fan. I'm only annoyed that they used that song 3 times in the movie.
Well, it was like
At the start, the middle, and the end.
it was like Miles Morales' like song though. It was like
Yeah, no.
his thing. And I guess it was like I forgot what it's called.
Anthem?
No, well, yeah, almost like an anthem. I forgot what they call it in film. They call it some fancy name. I forgot what it's called.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I really like it that they used it because I
Yeah.
feel like it made sense. But like I do feel your pain when they used it 3 times. But
Oh, I mean, it worked. It's just kind of like, wow, we really milked this Post Malone song.
I mean, get your money's worth out of it, eh?
yeah. I think he did a lot of the soundtrack.
He did, and so did Sway Lee, or his name was.
Oh, yeah.
Well, he helped out or whatever.
Did you see that they just released the actual Spider-Man Merry Christmas EP?
Oh, finally! Because I searched it up as soon as the movie finished. So it's like, where's the Spider-Man?
No, they actually released it. It's a
Fuck
real, it's a
yeah.
real single.
I'm totally. Listen, after this podcast, I'm downloading it. So there's that. Yeah, that was great. So what do you think of the storyline? Was it a good one to choose for an animated film?
Yeah.
Should they have just done Miles Morales by himself, or do you reckon
No.
the Spider-Verse was a good idea?
Okay, well, I'm gonna try with a bit of comic knowledge here. Miles Morales was actually created in the Ultimate Universe, and you know that because you've read most of
I read
Ultimate
the comics.
Spider-Man.
Yeah.
No, I know, but I'm just gonna say so. Like, the idea was like the Ultimate line was that they could restart and tell new stories set in a more modern age, 2000. Anyway, they did Spider-Man stories for like 15 years set in the Ultimate Universe, and then they did the death of Peter Parker or the death of Spider-Man. And after that, a new Spider-Man shows up, and that's Miles Morales trying to carry on the legacy. It was meant to, like, Peter Parker was meant to invoke the sort of Uncle Ben kind of role at that point, where it was like he didn't have a direct relationship with Miles, but it was like, you know, you've got this power.
Yeah, good.
Great power comes great responsibility, which is cool.
What makes you different makes you Spider-Man.
Yeah. And then at some point they crossed Miles Morales over into the main universe. But it's always made sense that there's a Spider-Verse. If there are multiple Earths in the DC universe, or there are multiple realities
Yeah.
in the Marvel universe, well, no, because Earths is a DC thing.
Okay.
In Marvel, it's like universes, like 616 and stuff.
Oh yeah. Of course, my bad.
Yeah.
Fuck, my bad.
It makes
Sorry,
sense.
nerds.
Well, Spider-Verse, the term Spider-Verse was created for an event in the comics.
Mhm.
Where, like, where these
Yeah, like the Spider Witch, wasn't it, or something?
oh, Madam Web.
Yeah, that's it.
Well, like, these guys were trying to kill every Spider-Man in every dimension.
Yeah.
I don't know, I can't remember why. I don't really care. But that's where the idea came from. And did you notice how when the Collider went off, and isn't the idea that because Spider-Man was fighting right in the beam of the Collider, that it just picked up him from different universes and stuff?
Yeah.
Is that kind of how it works?
I think that's why, because he had like his DNA trapped
Yeah.
inside the.
And did you notice
thing.
that, like, when they went inside it, it veered off into webs?
Oh, it did, didn't it?
It did look like webs. How cool is that?
Yeah, that's cool. But like, you know, so I'm so glad that they were perfectly animating it so that the hand wasn't in the kaleidoscope. You know how his like hand was kind of holding him.
Yeah.
I'm so glad they like animated it perfectly so he wouldn't touch it, because otherwise that could have sparked a whole Reddit thread.
You reckon?
It would have sparked a whole Reddit thread if his hand touched the kaleidoscope. The Green Goblins, I reckon it would have.
Oh, right, yeah. So, like, it's like, why isn't there multiple goblins and
Yeah.
stuff?
Why didn't the goblins also come through the fucking portal?
Anyway, yeah. So it makes
But I'm glad they didn't do that.
Yeah,
so.
well, anyway, the idea of Miles is he's always interacted with, he's always sort of been a part of a Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
And it makes perfect sense. It's, especially for an animated movie, it's the most comic booky thing you can do. The idea that there are alternate versions of Spider-Man, or Spider-Women, or whatever.
Spider people.
Spider-People.
Spider they.
And it sets it perfectly up for spin-off because you've got all these characters, and it did feel a bit overcrowded when they were trying to stuff Noir,
The Japanese.
SP Ida, or
Spider.
however you say it,
Peter Porker.
and Spider-Ham. It did feel a bit like when because they did basic Spider-Man's origin twice, and Miles and Spider-Gwen.
Really quickly though.
Really quickly, but it was still like, I was like, oh shit, are we doing this the whole time? Like, it's fine in a comic book, but it worked. It did feel a bit, but there's always time to expand. And the idea is that there is more universes out there. There is more Spider people.
Bit in the background. This is Tasmania for you. It's been week, isn't it? Midnight. Saturday. Isn't it?
What's wrong?
Is it midnight in Tasmania? Just moving the bins then.
I don't know what the fuck he's doing. Anyway, it makes perfect sense, and they didn't leave one of the most famous Spider people out of it, obviously being Spider-Man 2099. They didn't leave him out of it, because if you've noticed, any story like Shattered Dimensions, and like the game Shattered Dimensions...
Oh, I actually still have that game on my DS.
Well, that's like a Spider-Verse, right? It's like all these different, you know, I remember
good.
Mysterio smashes a time stone or something, or Edge of Time. Spider-Man 2099 is one of the most famous, like, most well-known, rather, alternate versions of Spider-Man. Mostly for the suit, because the suit looks awesome.
This is pretty
So they didn't even leave him out of it, which was... Oh, that's a spoiler, by the way, for the end credits.
I'll put spoiler on the title or something.
People don't care.
Yeah, fuck it. No,
Well, no, you've probably seen it by now. I
Look,
mean,
if you don't want to...
if you haven't seen it and you're part of the geekosphere or the pop
Should I
culture...
put Spider-Man in the title? I guess I should.
Get the clicks.
Get the clicks.
Um,
And it's
it's probably been spoiled for you. I mean, it was spoiled for me, but that was my fault. So I mean, I don't really mind. Plus, they've set up sequels with all these new characters.
Yeah.
There's talks of even a Spider-Ham one, which I don't think could warrant its own movie. it could probably warrant, like, say, like a 10-minute short at the start of the next Spider-Verse movie or something. You know, kind of like how Pixar has short films.
Yeah. I think you could totally. I think it depends on the story you choose. You could do a
Yeah.
Spider-Man film, Spider-Ham.
I mean, hey,
He's a great voice
wouldn't it
actor.
be cool if they did, like, a 2D cartoon in the style of Looney Tunes and just did, like, a little mini-series of that? I would take that.
That'd be very funny.
It'd be great.
You put Howard the Duck in that shit.
Oh, don't do that to me. Don't do that to me, Lewis. Yeah, I think it was great. I'm glad they didn't go too far with the Spider-Gwen Miles relationship.
Really?
Frankly,
I really hope they kiss. I was so rooting for a kiss at the end.
It's just so...
What do you mean, Blair? I found Gwen hot.
Dude, she's like 15 in that movie.
Yeah, but dimensions and stuff can really mess up age. You know.
Age is just a number in different dimensions.
Yeah.
No, it's fine. Like, I think she looked the part. It was cool. I'm glad they didn't use her new comic book name, because obviously the name Spider-Gwen gives away your identity. Do you know what she's called now?
I don't know.
Ghost Spider.
Really? I mean, well, Spider-Gwen is pretty kind of counterintuitive, isn't it? So.
Well, it's like, she's not called that in her own world. People don't refer to her as Spider-Gwen, because everyone would be like, hey, that's Spider-Gwen. Gwen Stacy, Spider-Gwen.
I mean, like, how many Gwens are there in the world? Come on.
No, in that universe, there's only one. Did you notice, though, that her best friend and teacher was Peter Parker, and he was the Lizard in her universe?
Yeah, that was kind of cool how, like,
Yeah.
everything was a little bit changed around.
Her mentor was Peter Parker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she saved her dad, though, which is kind of like... oh,
Yeah, and in the comics, when they expand on that world a bit more, the Kingpin is Matt Murdock.
Oh, that's-
Daredevil.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck, that's pretty cool.
So it's
actually.
like they just...
I'd love to see a Spider-Gwen film.
I think the spin-off is going to be Spider-Gwen, Spider-Woman, even though she refers to herself as Spider-Woman in Spider-Verse, which is confusing, because there is a Spider-Woman already, and Silk. who's
Oh,
another
Silk.
Spider people.
I've read a Spider. Silk.
Yeah, well, I think the girl's name is Sydney Moon. She was actually in Spider-Man: Homecoming, just not as Silk. That's
Yeah, okay.
just a classmate. It's kind of like a reference. But yeah, because I think it's an all-female spin-off. The question is now, though, since the Collider was destroyed, how was Gwen able to talk to Miles at the end of the first one, and how would she find new Spider people, and what would bring them together? Because remember how a portal opens up?
Stone.
No, don't.
Boom.
No.
Alright, well,
Anyway, now we're
Look,
just
okay.
speculating on sequels.
what would you give Spider-Verse? Out of 20. Out of 18.
Oh, we're doing ratings?
Out of 18. What would you give it? That's a little special number, 18. Out of 18.
To not let the little biased Marvel fanboy inside of me sort of speak
As
up.
a film, and as like...
As a film that works by itself without any previous knowledge, that can be viewed on its own and with everything else,
Yeah.
I'd give it a solid 16.
16. It's pretty good. I personally gotta give it a 17. I loved it a lot. I think I'm gonna buy it and all that.
Oh yeah, I just don't like that they kind of made old Peter Parker a joke. Like, yeah, I get it, he's a bit of a jerk, his life's in ruins,
He's fat.
but he's fat. That's fine, but why did they have to keep making reference to it? It's like,
'Cause, I mean, it's
Peter, and it's like,
it's a kids film.
there has to be fat jokes?
Yeah, fat jokes are funny.
Fat jokes are funny in 2018.
Yeah, that's still funny.
Apart from that, it was fine. It was
fat
cool.
jokes keep me thin.
And also, rest in peace, Stan the Man Lee.
Yeah.
Easily one of his best cameos.
Celsior.
With one of his favourite creations. Granted, he's kind of a con man in the thing where it's like, it always fits, and then it's like no returns ever.
Yeah.
But like, it was kind of a really fitting tribute to be one of his last cameos.
Yeah, and I hope... Yeah, I'm so glad. It was such a good film. Best film.
It was just such a good one because it was about Spider-Man. It was kind of like his one in the less than great Spider-Man 3 where he goes, one man can make a difference. And it gives you that like, oh.
Yeah, it was pretty good. Well, that's all we have time for today. Thanks for listening to the podcast. I'm Lewis. This is Zach, and this is
I don't know why I waved. I'm Zach.
non-famous people's What?
Non-famous opinions?
yeah non-famous people opinions.
People opinions.
That was Spider-Verse.
Oh yeah, non-famous people opinions. Yeah, it became a Spider-Verse episode, didn't it?
Yeah, but like we'll talk about other things next week or however
Yeah.
many times
What's
we get to
next?
talk.
Aquaman.
Oh fuck, we're not talking about Aquaman.
No?
No.
No Aquaman?
I'll be shitting on the
Captain
film
Marvel.
the whole time. Oh, something like that. All right, bye.
Bye. We ended up